So the question is, can two distinct cultures and belief systems come together to live in peace and harmony? And how far is a queen willing to go to protect her people? Do you think it's possible for a spirit to stay tied to a location where it once experienced so much pain? These are just some of the themes I plan to touch on during today's story. But first, I'm Frank Mizzy. Welcome to the channel where I take true stories and tell them in a brand new way. For this one in particular, I'm going to share one of the most interesting pieces of information for this story at the end, after the song. So make sure you stick around for the full video. But having said that, I know I'm ready. I hope you're ready. Let's get into it.
Would you do it for your tribe? In the name of honor, or you losing to your pride? When it's time for war, you gonna ride, going out on your shield. Would you do it for your tribe? Would you do it? Make them all retreat, or will you hide? Would you do it? Odds are stacked, they tell you pick a side. Would you do it? Knowing how it go, but still decide. Even though you won't survive, when you do it, you gon' die. Transport you to a time, the great divide. You'll be sequestered and tap into tradition like you speaking to ancestors. And they say when there's a problem, what you mean you let it fester? I'm setting up the theme, it's for the queen, her name is Esther. And everything she did I list, so you could know a big assist and build a bridge to bring you the indigenous. You digging this? Broke ground to stand behind decisions that she did deploy. This is how it started, how she lived and led the Iroquois. Born in 70-20 when times seem to change. These cultures get combined when these marriages arranged. The settlers and natives, they would take a shot at love, exactly what her parents did, what Esther was a product of. Northeast of the US where the journey would begin. That's where her people built a home. They knew the land is She Quinn. There they knew that she was special. Many men would try this shot, eventually would meet the chief, and then the two would tie the knot. When he passed, she took charge, the power in her hands, and she would use it cause she can and put expansion in the plans. On the greener pastures, have them thriving by the river. Munsee tribe was living good and saw the queen indeed deliver. At the same time, Americans were seeking a solution. They would die for independence, so they speak of revolution. War was underway, so the hatches that they battened down. Before they knew it, then the land became the battleground. Watching it unfold, and the stress would weigh a ton. Then it would turn personal when they killed her only son. In a rage, she said, we'll raid and not revenge. I only crave. You see, their actions dug a grave, and there's no soul that they can save. So she rounded up the colonists to watch each other die. Raised a tomahawk. Before it came down, he asked her why. Hope this makes it really clear, cause blood is the enhancer. See, my actions speak the loudest. Think you finally got your answer for when you wanna ask. Would you do it for your tribe? In the name of honor, or you losing to your pride? When it's time for war, you gonna ride, going out on your shield. Would you do it for your tribe? Would you do it? Make them all retreat, or will you hide? Would you do it? Odds are stacked, they tell you pick a side. Would you do it? Knowing how it go, but still decide. Even though you won't survive, when you do it, you gon' die. More than shocked by what she did, so they no longer feel conflicted. News was spread, they call her savage. That's the way that she's depicted. What she did, no one predicted. Once she picked it, all bad. They would scream, she's not a queen, just a demon gone mad. Then Colonel Thomas Hartley got the troops and told them this: she will pay for what she did. You see, Esther made the list. Here's the order, hope you're ready, cause the moment will arrive. First we'll find them, then we'll kill them. We're not taking them alive. No longer playing games, they head down to the plains and find right where they live, then put it up in flames. And cheering on the fire, watching every life it claims. They would burn it to the ground until no evidence remains. And see the Munsee, they would try to stand the ground. They thought they can, though the battle went for hours, never got the upper hand. They were forced to flee, led by all the children and the wives. The colonel giving chase as they were running for their lives. Thirst for blood, smelling fear, this would fuel the way they hounded. Didn't make it far before they saw they were surrounded, overpowered. Now the Munsee down on bended knees, they lined them up to execute them, making sure that Esther sees. The queen was up next after letting off a round, tore limb from limb, disrespect the body that they crowned, and the screams were so loud they would echo and be found in the town nearby. People haunted by the sound. Esther thinking about the question, would you do it for your tribe in the name of honor, or you losing to your pride? When it's time for war, you gonna ride, going out on your shield. Would you do it for your tribe? Would you do it? Make them all retreat, or would you hide? Would you do it? Odds are stacked, they tell you pick a side. Would you do it? Knowing how it go, but still decide. Even though you won't survive, when you do it, you gon' die.
So let's continue the conversation. Over the course of generations, there were marriages between the settlers and Native Americans, and this eventually led to the birth of Esther. She was deeply connected to her people, but she also had Christian beliefs, so she was actually able to build good relationships with both groups of people. When she took control, she was super successful. The new settlement she led them to was just below Tioga Point, and this was a thriving community of over 70 homes, and it was known to be called Queen Esther's Town. After the bloody battle that I described, Colonel Hartley and his men would dump the bodies of their victims in the Chemung River, making it impossible for them to be buried in the traditional Iroquois way. They even hung the queen's body from a tree, and it is believed that ever since then, the land where all this took place is cursed. So the story goes, there were two men walking in that area hunting. They would wander down by the river, just wondering where their next catch may come from. Then suddenly, to their surprise, they could see a woman hanging from a tree. They could see her swinging in the breeze while tears fell from her eyes. And just as quickly as she appeared, she disappeared. And then even later, when they tried to fire their weapons, they wouldn't operate correctly. Maybe Queen Esther was still there, suffering, but also interfering so that no one else felt pain. But that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I hope you enjoyed today's story. And if you did, why not do those things that make YouTube smile? And while you're here, check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you can find something you like. But either way, I appreciate you spending some time with me here on the channel. And until next time, be safe. Peace.